that we should face the truth and embrace education and all the experiences that we get to change our everyday life. And as he said, change starts from us, and change starts from our actions of every day. And another key aspect is convincing the others around us, not like starting from our bubble and our spheres of friends. So it's really important the impact we also have on others in order to achieve a better future and to get to a brighter future. So thank you very much again. We were honored to have you here tonight. Now the discussion will pass on with Marc Buckley, the moderator of tonight. We are pleasured to have him as a moderator for this event. I will pass to him the floor.
Thank you very much. It's so wonderful to be here at the 92nd International Session of the European Youth Parliament in Milan 2021. I hear that there's 40 different European countries involved. I only thought there was 28 EU unions in the EU, but apparently we've got 40 different European countries represented here tonight. I see there's wonderful attendance online. I want to tell you that I really appreciate the words of Minister Kingolani and really thank him for giving us the harsh realities of the situation we find ourselves in. But I want to tell you, don't have a heart attack. Don't stick your head in the sand. Don't give up hope, because there is plenty of hope and optimism. There's a couple tips and tricks that we have up our sleeve that if you understand and you embrace them, we can have a very desirable, beautiful future for everyone. And you, as the European Youth Parliament, can play a vital, big role in seeing that transition, that transformation come about. I want to tell you about a couple of those things that we have in our favor. One of them is one that's kind of been played down a lot. We haven't heard a lot about it. And I really need to raise its awareness and get it to the forefront of your minds. It is two things. One, the Paris Agreement happened in 2015. Wonderful agreement saying let's keep the world at 1.5 degrees of warming. 197 countries came together for the first time ever and agreed upon not 2 degrees of warming, but 1.5 degrees of warming to keep our planet at that level by 2030. But a little bit before that time, in September 24th and 2015, the Sustainable Development Goals were released. And I'm a Sustainable Development Goal advocate. There are 17 SDGs that are a people planet protection plan. They're like the biggest and best insurance plan for our planet ever. The only problem is we're now left with 9 years to go until 2030 and to reach those goals. And I have to tell you, the first 3 years, we were really moving pretty slow. And it was sad because not a lot of people knew about them. So if I told somebody, hey, have you heard about the Sustainable Development Goals? Most people didn't know what they were. They couldn't name them. But if they had heard about them, they'd say, oh yeah, number one, no poverty. It's red. That's my favorite color. That's the one I'm working on. Number one, no poverty. And I'd say, oh, great. That's so great that you know about them. But did you know that all 17 Sustainable Development Goals are tied together as a complex system? And it's virtually impossible for you to work on one goal and not touch on the others. So if you're an organization, a city, a country, and you say, okay, we're going to work on number 2, zero hunger, number 3, good health and well-being, those are the 2 we're going to focus on. It's virtually impossible because you would touch on all the others because they're tied together as a system. And it is really important for you to understand that connection, and also the connection that all 17 of them are intrinsically tied to agriculture, seafood, food and beverage industry, the basic resources of humanity. The way we were presented with them is from 1 to 17, very linear, laid out like, just 1 to 17. But that's really not the way we should look at them. We should look at them as a pyramid, a pie, a chart, a graph, with the bottom layer being our biosphere. That is life below water, life on land, climate action, and clean water and sanitation. That is our biosphere. That's how we produce anything on this earth from our biosphere. And that's how we produce food. That's how we produce electric cars. That's how we produce computers and cell phones. Without those basic resources in our biosphere, we're stuffed. We really don't have any resources to produce anything for the next level, which is our society. And then even further for our economy. And then the last sustainable development goal is at the very top, and that's partnership for the goals. Now, because people didn't really know about the Sustainable Development Goals and understand how to look and think and talk about them, how they can apply them to their lives, I wrote the Sustainable Development Goal Manifesto for the United Nations, and I want to read it to you. And when I read it to you, I'd like you to kind of ponder on my words, maybe even close your eyes. I want you to put yourself in December 2030, what you would feel like living in a world about all the things that I describe in this manifesto that have to do with the Sustainable Development Goals. The reason I wrote this is because a lot of people think, oh, the Sustainable Development Goals are for countries or for cities or for companies. But actually, they're for each and every one of us. They're for every human being on earth. I'm going to read that to you now, and I just want you to ponder these words and picture yourself December 2030, what it would feel like to live in a world like I'm going to read to you now. Imagine a world where there is no poverty and zero hunger. We have good health and well-being, quality education, and full gender equality everywhere. There is clean water and sanitation for everyone. Affordable and clean energy has created decent work and sustainable economic growth. Our prosperity is fueled by investments in resilient industry, innovation, and infrastructure, and that has reduced inequalities. We live in sustainable cities and communities, and responsible consumption and production has healed our planet. Climate action has stopped and reversed the warming of our planet, and we have flourishing life below water and abundant, diverse life on land. We enjoy peace and justice through strong institutions and have built long-term partnerships for the goals. Now, I don't know how you feel about that. I don't know what you understand about that. But for me, that's a world that I'd like to live in by December 2030. It gives me a feeling of what the world can feel like, what equality would feel like, what our production, our consumption, our energy, our basic needs would look like. Now, I described to you kind of a pyramid, a cake, a pie, a chart, a graph of the Sustainable Development Goals on how you should look at them, with the biosphere at the bottom, the society at the next level, the economy at the next level, and at the top level, the partnership for the goals. But there's another very famous pyramid out there. It's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's the basic needs of humanity. At the very bottom of that pyramid, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is the physiological needs of humanity, of Homo sapien, of us, of each and every one of us. And that is breathing, food, water. The next level is the security level of that pyramid. Security of body, of resources, of property, of health. Those are the basic needs of humanity. But if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, They all describe the basic needs of humanity. I want you to know that they're not an add-on as business as usual. They are an entirely new operating system for the entire world. It's a new economic system. It's not just an add-on or a plug-in into business as usual. It's a whole new system for our earth, our economy, our operating system for the earth. And it sets the bar higher. It raises the bar higher for all of us to say, we will never let humanity get below this level again. There is some other ways that I can describe and give you some ways to think about the exponential function and how we can not just see that as population growing out of control and as pollution and CO2 and greenhouse gas emissions going out of control, but that we can use that exponential growth of those bad numbers in a positive way to draw down, to capture carbon, to heal our planet, to live within the safe operating spaces of our planetary boundaries. And the minister touched upon it just a little bit. He talked about our ecological footprint. In 2020, August 22nd, 2020, last year, our Earth Overshoot Day was August 22nd, and that was the day we'd gone beyond the finite resources of our planet, using more than we had. That number, as the minister said, was a little bit wrong. It's not 1.7, it's 1.6 per person. But per person on this earth, we are using 2.98 global hectares per person. That's an overshoot. That's a resource deficit. We can see that negativity. We can see what we're doing wrong or what we're using right. But we can flip that and leave our planet better than we found it. We can start offering regenerative economy practices in our business and our life and the way we do things. We can change how we consume, produce, and eat food or anything on this planet that can get us back into the safe operating spaces of our planetary boundaries. And it's what we call ecological economics or regenerative economics. And it's a different model than the planet's ever used before. And so I leave you in my very short time with the knowledge there is hope, there is optimism, and there are tons of better tools that you don't need to study, that you don't need to take years to learn before you can apply into your life today to immediately impact our planet to start creating the future that we want to live on. Just like JFK, when he said, we're going to put a man on the moon, which occurred back in 1968 in May, we have a same situation now with the Sustainable Development Goals. We have before a decade is out to reach the Sustainable Development Goals, 9 years. And that is enough to put a man on the moon. It's enough to change on a dime and change our planet totally if we come together as humanity and if every individual understands and clicks with what that beautiful future looks like. I am very thankful for the time to speak, and I would really like to move forward and introduce the next speakers because I've gone over a little bit of time.